Welcome, listeners, to Tell the Stories Journeys of Purpose. This is our sixth season. It's also our final season. So we are just grateful for all the guests that we've had, and we're grateful for this new season. And most importantly, we're grateful for Pam Drzewiecki for being here with us today. Pam is so wonderful. I met her at a WIN meeting. She was the guest speaker. And WIN was founded by Diane Rochelle. If you can go and check her out, I think you can find her on Facebook. She has really great meetings and empowering sessions for women who are looking to upscale their business. And she gives them the tools to do that through her meetings. And so Pam is a success coach. And I said she was the guest speaker at the WIN conference. And I was just so taken by her and what she has to offer women who are seeking to better themselves, to improve, to grow in their relationships with God, relationships with themselves, right? On the truth within them. And so she is the founder of Powerful Purpose and the Purpose Den. And so I'm just going to say, welcome again. Welcome, Pam. And please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. Stacy, thank you so much. And it is a true blessing that we met that morning, that I was called into to speak to a wonderful group of women in that networking group. And that is actually one of the things that I love to do, is speaking and running workshops. And a little bit about myself. I'm a wife, and I'm a mom, daughter, and a sister, right? That's all the hats that I wear personally. And as a business woman and owner, I'm 28 years out of the insurance industry and coming in on my almost 7th year. It's 6.5 years of Powerful Purpose. And it's just been an amazing, amazing journey that I've been on, and helping women just truly thrive in their lives and in their personal, professional, career, and business lives. That's what I do, because we're put here. I know that when we're sometimes in a dark place, it helps us understand what our path is moving forward, right? And we're able to take all of these lessons that we've learned from these chapters in our lives and bring them forth in places like this, in my coaching, Stacy, in your work. It's just what God has put on our heart to help other women do, right? And other people grow. And that's what I love so much about the work that I get to do. I help them navigate that and find the goodness inside them. But of course, not on a me.
Right.
But right. On what he gives us, and help them sit silent, to pause and really listen to the stories that he's telling us to go forth and share with other people, right?
Yes.
And that is why I was so excited. One of the reasons why I was so excited to be here today, because we have great symmetry of what we do.
We do.
And what we offer. And I just love that. I love that. So that's just like short little story about me. But I am filled with tons of chapters that I call, and gives me the grace to have the beautiful wisdom to help other women through these chapters that they might be going through in their lives.
Yes. And when we were at the meeting, you shared some of those chapters in your life, and so grateful that you did, on the story of how you got here in this in this journey of helping women, right? Serving in this capacity. And I just thought it was a very helpful share of how you can get from one place to another, and that path that we sometimes think is like so rigid and we lay out for ourselves, right, can change in an instant, right? It can
Yes.
change. And sometimes what happens is when we are so rigid, we won't allow God to hear the voice of God to shift us to the place where we are truly to serve, right? And
So true.
let go of the comfort zone and what we knew to something that is different, something that is more impactful than
Mhm.
what we thought we should be doing. And so that this kind of journey is calls us to be flexible,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Causes us to be flexible in the face of God, right? At
Yes.
his feet. And to say, okay, use us, Lord. And that's going to lead us into validating success and freedom. And that is our topic today with Pam.
Mm.
And as a success coach, she knows this very well. And I'd like to know from you, Pam, how is it like, do you come to this place of the awareness of what we need to do to be free?
Oh, that is not, I mean, the question, when you stop and think about that, right? We're
Yes.
all on, most of us are on a hamster wheel of busyness, right?
Yes.
We wake up in the morning and we have a routine, and there's nothing wrong with a routine, but sometimes that routine doesn't allow us the freedom that we need, that we crave, that
Yeah.
we desire to have, right? Because
Yes.
we're really busy taking care of a lot of other things that are calling our attention. And I actually spoke this past week last week at a luncheon on freedom, around freedom of awareness, freedom of choice,
Yes.
freedom of financial stability. But the thing is that the success behind all of that is nothing that we're actually living right now. And I think that's the validation is, and I'm still finding it. I am, because I really believe that it's something that constantly has to be addressed, because it's so easy to get caught up in the busyness, in the hamster wheel, in what the world is telling us we should be.
Exactly.
So if I were to suggest or encourage the listeners, I would really love for them to take a moment and think about, what does freedom mean to them?
Nice.
Okay. So now freedom for me is one of my core values that I live. I'd love to have that ability of freedom. And when I'm not living that freedom or one of my core values, I feel that I'm not in line with where I'm supposed to be.
Hmm.
So, worldly freedom, financially, right? It could drag you down if you're not in the place that you think you need to be. Correct?
It's true.
Right?
Correct. Yes.
Yes. So, how are you validating your success of freedom? What are those areas that you want to be successful in, which will in turn give you that freedom?
When did God start talking to you about, or did he? I'm sorry for making that assumption.
No.
So when did he start talking to you about freedom and awareness, right? Because you're right, we do go down that rabbit hole, right? We're constantly following the world definition of success and leaving behind or excluding God's right definition of success. And we don't think about that for the most part. I'm not saying everyone, so I'm not going to include everyone, and I'm sorry for generalizing. But for the most part, how often do we come to this place where we sit down and start to decipher
Mhm.
what is God's role for us versus what is the world's role or telling us to do, and how that is so different from one another. And
Mm.
are we willing to do that? Because that takes work, right? It's stepping out of the comfort zone. We can
Mm.
either go this way or this way. And sometimes it's not, I don't call it laziness. Sometimes it's it's frightening, right? It's scary
Very frightening.
to step out of the comfort zone and say, you know what, I'm going to leave the world behind, the world's view of what I should be doing, and follow God's path of what He said that I am and what gifts I have to serve the world. So, can
Mm.
you speak upon that when God started speaking to you and you really start to see the difference?
Yeah. Oh, I would love to. So I would say it probably was he has spoken through the years to me. Whether I've listened is a different story. Okay.
We're all guilty of that. Come on
Okay.
now, Pam. We're all guilty of that. You know that.
But when I started really listening and actually starting to get the courage, because I think that's the word that we should focus on around here, is to have the courage to take action on what he's saying. I think that is really, really powerful. I think the courage first came when I came off of a pretty messy first marriage.
Okay.
Unfortunate. It really was. It was just the way of the world was going on in the marriage. But I had my daughter at age 40. And I think at age when I was like had her at 40, 10, almost 41 years old, I said, I think I heard him saying, this isn't the life that I want for you guys to be in. And this isn't where you need to raise her. So my definition at that point of success was taking that leap, taking the courage to change something that was really ingrained in me for 20 years.
Yes.
So I think there, and then the next step was being with the same person for all those years, stepping out and listening to him. You need to have a man in your life that is filled with me. You need to go out and find him, right? And I
Yes.
remember writing in my Bible, in the front of my Bible, the things that I wanted from my
Yes.
husband, that he was saying to me, this is what, and finding that man
Yeah.
on a website called Plenty of Fish. It was like a fish symbol, like Jesus. I mean, come on.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, you're going to have to talk about that after we finish with this. This particular, we're going to have to talk about that as well. Because
Yeah.
that's so cool. I want to hear about that. Okay.
Isn't that wild?
Yes.
So that was another stepping out of success for me. So success doesn't always have to be in business. Oh, I'm a successful business person, right? It's really in our lives, ingrained in our lives. So that was the next time I listened to him. I found this website, went out, found him, found my husband, Michael. And that's a whole nother story of our meeting and everything like that. He's an amazing, amazing man and soulmate. And he is filled with God, and we raise our kids and our family, and we're just surrounded by it. And I wasn't there before. That wasn't in my life before. I was personally, but it wasn't in my relationship.
Okay. Okay. That's a difference.
Okay.
There's a difference, because are you saying you both have to be on the same page? One person can't be there and the other cannot, and because it doesn't flow.
Sometimes you have enough to be able to do that together if the other person is willing to grow with you.
Okay.
But I believe both of you on the same path of your spiritual journey
Yes.
is very impactful of a successful marriage or a
Yes.
successful relationship.
Yes.
When you're both. So I would really define our relationship as a success, right? So
Right.
that was another time. Another time was when he was speaking to me and he was like, yeah, I know you've been here for 25 years in this career, but it's time for you to start thinking of something else. And all of a sudden at year 28, I ended up leaving. So I think that was that. Stacy, I think back to when I started Powerful Purpose. I wish I encourage people who ever start businesses to keep a journal around what you're thinking while you're starting, because it's
good.
amazing.
That's good.
There's parts of my journey I did not journal, and I'm trying to like, how did I feel? Why did I do that? Right. So
yes,
it is part of my coaching is to help women document what their journey is and what they're going through.
Absolutely.
So that's another success of listening. I did in my younger years, I probably heard things along the way, and he guided me to where the path of decision making that I made, but I might not have always been listening to the full decision making. Okay. And again, I let Wordly and myself get in the way.
Yes, we do.
Of what it was supposed to be.
We do. How often do we do that? It's not sometimes. I look back at my life, and most of the time, I got in my own way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? God was leading me, but I was like, but Lord, no. Right?
Yes.
I was like, I hear what you're saying. I just don't like the plan to get there. I'm like, I have to be honest. And so I would do things to sabotage myself. I would get in my own way.
Mm-hmm.
And, thank God he's merciful, right? Thank God God is merciful and gracious. And, he loves us because he laughs and he goes, oh, my child, if you only knew my daughter who I love so much,
exactly.
If you only knew what I have in store for you, you would stop self-sabotaging. You would stop getting in your own way. You would stop running from me and you would start running to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it is absolutely true. Like, I won't say why. I think because our minds are framed to listen to society more, right, than we listen to God and trust what we're hearing from him and then doing it, right? We need people like you, Pam, to tell your story, to share your story, to say, hey, listen, this is what it looks like when you step out, right, of the comfort zone, when you listen to God, when you're ready, you have the awareness to listen to him, then you listen and then you act.
Yes.
It shifts your life. And it serves other people as well. Not only serving God, it's serving yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it serves other people, the other people that you didn't know you were assigned to serve.
Right. It's so beautiful. But don't get discouraged if you say yes, okay, I get it. This is what I got to do, right?
Yes.
In anything like success of your health, like walking or eating right, or success in your finances with budgeting and being mindful and a good steward of your money, successful with your self-care, anything along those lines. Don't get discouraged if you try.
That's
and you go back to how you were thinking before. Just keep on really praying on it to bring yourself back in a kind way. Be kind to yourself. That's part of the success is is really being kind to yourself, because, as you said, we are daughters of God. We are children of God. He is
Yes.
kind to us. And the greatest gift is for us to be kind to ourselves, and not as selfish, but just being kind, because he does not create garbage. We sometimes, again, the outside world, allow the outside world to design who we are supposed to be. And it's a beautiful thing when you're there and you believe it. And you could believe it in one area of your life and not in 10 other areas, right?
It's true. Oh my goodness, that is such a good point. Can you elaborate on that, Pam? Because that is such a good point. You're absolutely right. You sort of blew my mind just now, because that's true. So can you elaborate on that, please?
Sure. I would love to. Like, so you could be really, really good in your business, where you're successful and you're being a good steward and you're giving back and everything. But in your personal life, you might not be in a good place in your marriage. Mm-hmm. Right? Or in your physical life, you're not in very good shape, or you're a marathon runner, but you can't get yourself really connected where you're supposed to be on, I don't know, in business, or being a good father or a mother or whatever. It doesn't mean you're not successful. It just means those are areas that you have to pay more attention to, and sit and listen and be quiet. Be quiet. And quietness is hard, but every single day I sit, or I stand. I go out on my front porch because I love it out there, and it's so quiet, and I hear the birds, and I just take big deep breaths and just stand there.
Yes.
In silence. And it doesn't have to be a long period of time. It could be a half a minute, it could be a minute, it could be 5 minutes. But just give the space for him to talk to you, and praise that you're successful in one area and ask for help in the other areas. It's okay. It doesn't mean you failed. You doesn't mean you failed.
That is so good. And I've seen you in pictures, like on LinkedIn or Instagram, on the front porch. And so, right?
I love my front porch. Yes.
Find that space, right? That really allows for you to have that place of peace and of silence, something that sort of shuts down everything else in your life, right? So you can hear the voice of God, like you're saying.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be elaborate space, but just have a space where it's your time. It's like him sitting in front of you, and you're just having a conversation, and it's just your special space. You could light a candle, you could, it could be a chair, it could be whatever. It could be sitting in the grass, it could be wherever it is. But I really encourage people to find that one spot that you could go to. Not that you can't speak with him anywhere, because of course you can.
You can.
But it's nice to have a special space, because when you call in guests, you want your house to be together, right? When you call them in, this is your space.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is so beautifully said. And that is a practice, right? We have to allow that to come into our lives, and we have to practice it, because sometimes that doesn't come easily, to shut down the world, or shut off the world, so we can have that peaceful, quiet time, that silent time with God, to listen to him, right? To just be in not just conversation and communication with him, but just be in his presence, right? When we have that time just to be in, we're quiet and we're just in his presence, it's transcendent. And that's it is, right?
It is.
And so then we can find clarity, we can find focus, right? And it can shift our world, right? It can change our lives. Look at how many people in the Bible when where that has
I
happened.
know.
Where has that happened? Right? That still quiet voice. Okay, this is what I need you to do. And we miss it sometimes because we are so distracted. The world is so loud around us.
Mhm.
And it keeps us from that place that you're talking about right now, to center and be present and to listen to what we wouldn't have most of the things. We wouldn't have those stories of Moses. We wouldn't have those stories, right? Of
Exactly.
Abraham. We wouldn't have any of these stories like that shifted. Rahab, right? Who, right? Is exactly who said, "Hey, and God said and spoke to her." Like, and people would say, "Oh, but she was a prostitute." It's like,
No,
I don't care if she was a prostitute. She is. I created her, right?
that is beautiful, Stacy, right there,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So worldly thoughts and what he thought of her.
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
woman at the well, what people
Exactly.
thought of her versus what Jesus saw in her.
Yes.
Okay? Or Esther, right?
Yes.
Like there is so many powerful
Absolutely.
stories, and they're chapters. They're chapters to learn from. Chapters
Absolutely.
to learn from. So I think that's what it is that success of what the world thinks is success or not success in Rahab's situation, right? Or the women at the well. It was like the world thought they were like, ooh,
Ooh, exactly. That right? Like,
right?
right.
So that's exactly what this is all about, is understanding what you and him, what you guys come to, you guys like casual, right? Because it can be very casual and comfortable.
Yes.
And it should be. I mean, some people have a more formal relationship with him. I think that is also very important to remember while you're thinking about your success, is what kind of relationship do you have with him? Is he your father? Is he your brother? Like where do you come together? How do you see each other together? And then just relishing in the fact that maybe you're a baby, or maybe he's baby Jesus, and you have that
Oh,
relationship with
yeah.
him. It's like, it's interesting when you're a business owner and when you're a coach, you're expected to make a certain amount of money,
That's it, right?
right?
Yes.
You're
Yes.
expected to charge a certain amount for your services.
Yes.
You're supposed to reach a certain amount of people, have a certain amount of people on your email list to be successful, or all of these different levels or milestones that they put on you. And it can be very overwhelming. And I think that's sometimes people are, even our younger generation, and even us, get caught up in the social media of different things and seeing people certain ways. Some of that, it could be very true, right? But how would it be if we shared some of the ugly? You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I don't know. And I've been praying on that a lot lately. Like
Yes.
sharing some of the ugly and not just the good, because I think it's really important for people, especially women, to see that it's not only this. Pam is this. She's also this and this and this. And she's still happy and she's still living an ideal life. And that's what is so important about success.
Thank you for bringing that up, because I just had a hot flash. And right, like while we were talking, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, people can see like that I'm sweating, and as you were talking, right, and as you were saying that, and God was showing me, it was like, let that all go. Like, who cares? Like, let people see that, right? Let people see that. So I'm so glad you brought that up, so I could say this as well, that this is during that period of time, God was just like calming me down and saying, this is part of life. Show all of who you are. Don't hide what's happening in your life. That's where we get tripped up, right? We do. We think,
Exactly.
what does perfection, it is not possible, right? There was only one who was perfect, and that was Jesus,
That's right.
right? And so when we live this life of racing after or trying to live or trying to look like we're perfect, we lose people because that is not showing up as your authentic self. We go
Mhm.
through these things, show people and let them be comfortable with themselves because you're comfortable with yourself, right?
Mhm.
And saying, oh my goodness, if that person was comfortable and this happens to that person or this person, and it's happening to me, I'm not alone and I can breathe, I can exhale, right? I'm not like this weird thing over here that's so different from everyone else. No, we all go through because we were all created by one, right? It's the
Right.
creator. And so bring to the table our authentic selves, our authentic story, so that we can help and we serve people through that way, right? So
Mhm.
when we show up, we're willing to tell our stories. We are serving other people because we're setting them free, Pam. We're
Yes,
setting them free from the imprisonment, self imprisonment, right? That we sometimes put ourselves, we lock ourselves up.
we do. He doesn't lock us. We
That's
lock
right.
ourselves.
That's right.
We lock ourselves in, oh, I didn't get this done, beating ourselves up,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And again, like one of the things we do inside the Purpose Den is every Friday we meet and we celebrate, plan, and thrive, not just survive. We thrive together.
Right.
We thrive
Yes.
because it's important to think about that. What is the blessings? What is the grace this week? Where did I need patience? Where all of that is part of it. So it's not just rah rah. It's like, oh, I really sucked at this. I really stunk at this week. And I need to thrive in this area. I don't want to survive in this anymore. And that's the work that I love doing. So I've been shifting my mindset around helping as many women as I can, not make as much money as I can,
Right.
helping as many women as I can. And I think that is the definition of success for me now is really helping as many women as I can help and reach as many women as I can and everything else. And I truly have to believe this. Everything else will follow. And it's not as easy in the real world by
It's
saying that. But I know that is my calling. That is what I am doing. And that is what I am called to do now is help as many as I can. So that would be successful for me. And I think that's the reason why he calls me to go to the homeless shelter and sit with the women and do like gratitude books with them.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Right. Or go to and journal, teach young adults that are in foster care, like in the gap system, how to journal and how to be, present in their situation that they're in. So I think he calls me to do those things. He calls me to speak and meet amazing women like you. That's
Thank
the
you.
work that I'm supposed to be doing. And everything else will follow. Everything else will come.
Seek ye the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything will be added unto you.
Mm,
Matthew 6:33.
that's beautiful. It's
And that's
perfect.
exactly what you just said. That's really the meaning, right? How we serve and show up to serve, right? To fulfill
Yes.
our service here on earth. Pam, this is so incredible. I would say I'm going to leave it there, but we're going to circle back to one thing, and then we're going to say, okay, tell me, tell not just me, but tell us more about Plenty of Fish. Is this
Okay.
okay?
All
Yes.
right. So plentyoffish.com. I am not sure. I would have to see how they are nowadays.
Okay.
It was interesting because I hadn't been out in the world in such a long time, right?
Yeah.
So I went on this site because I was praying, and the Lord said, kind of was like, check out the fish symbol, which is Jesus symbol, and it's just kind of. So I did. I went on Plenty of Fish, and I filled out my profile.
Yes.
And I was having fun. I was going out on dates and meeting people, and I met my husband. And when I first met him, he tells the story all the time. He goes, she threw me back. She caught me and then threw me back. So I did. I just was like, yeah, this is all right. And God was so good because Michael came up to me that day, and I was like, yeah, this is fun, but I'm going to still, go for coffee with other people. And
Yes.
and he's like, you know what? You do what you have to do. I'll be here when you're ready because I know you're the one. I'm like, all right. And like a week later, I was back and I was like, yeah. And we've had an amazing journey of 14 years together. We've been married 12.
Wow.
We blended families and we blended animals at the time. And we had multitude of 4 houses, 2 ex-wives.
Wow.
I mean, 2 exes, ex-husband, ex-wife, 2 ex-wives. What's that? So there's a lot of chapters and a lot of patience and courage that went into building our relationship. And it's been absolutely amazing and wonderful, and not for the faint of heart. We've been through a lot together, not us as a couple, but the outside.
Sure.
And our choices that we've made in the past were still around us, right? We were still, because our choices really follow us. So, but it's been a beautiful journey, and we actually have been married twice. He and I got married twice. We got married in a congregational. We're Catholic, but we got married in a congregational church. Nice. When we first got married. It was absolutely stunning.
Oh.
And then I was able to get an annulment and went through that whole process. And we got our marriage blessed, and we got married again in the Catholic Church.
Oh, beautiful.
And both of them were just so amazing. So it's just been a beautiful journey. And I guess what I would say is take a chance. Just allow yourself to be open, vulnerable, but keep yourself safe at the same time. Yes. I think that was the biggest thing, was being vulnerable. So plentyoffish.com. Not sure what they look like these days. I'd have to come circle back around with you. But back then it was exactly what I was called to and what I needed.
Thank you for sharing that. And hopefully that was for someone out there who needed to hear it. Listen, I believe that we all, not all of us are supposed to, some of us are supposed to be single. It says in the word, I just read it, right? Some people were born to be single, right? Some people are forced, and they talk about the eunuchs, but forced to be single. And then some people choose to live a life of celibacy or singleness because of God, right? Their relationship with God and their service to God. So I'm not saying this out there, please worlds. I promote marriage, absolutely. But I also know that singleness is, God ordained, can be God ordained. Absolutely. But I know also that when you are following the word of God, and listen to Pam's story, that she listened to God regarding a mate and look, this is where she is now. So it comes back to listening. It comes back to being obedient. It comes back to having this awareness. It comes back to a freedom, right?
Freedom. Yeah.
That when we listen to God, this is what it looks like. So it all is part of what we are talking about, validating success and freedom. And
Mm-hmm.
Pam's life is a validation of both of those things. So look at her, and please, Pam, tell us where we can reach you, or listeners can reach you. I
Sure.
know where I can reach you already. Where listeners
I right now, I think the best place to go would be to go out to my website. It's powerful-purpose.com. Make sure you have the dash in there. And on that website, you will see information about the community, about the Purpose Den. You'll see all of my blogs that I have written.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I just recently uploaded 6 episodes of Inside the Den show, my show that I do with members inside my den. And all the conversations are the power of something. So, and they're all uploaded there now, so people could go and listen to them for free. You don't have to be a member inside the den to listen to the show. And my email address is on there. My calendar to jump on and have a virtual coffee with me is on there. So I would say that's probably the best way to reach me. And you could also, at that point, if you want to get more about the little things that I share, I write a mini blog every Sunday called Sunday Thoughts.
Okay.
And they go out on Sunday mornings. And you could sign up for that on my website as well.
That is great. Thank you. So listeners, please reach out to Pam because she is phenomenal. She is, you can see this for yourself. You can hear this for yourself. And, if you have a chance to work with her, please do that. Pam, before we go, do you want to leave us with anything in particular?
Okay. So I think two things. One, my very first nugget I wrote was live your life in purpose and not driven by those circumstances. So really being aligned with that, what is your purpose, and listening to him it will help you get on that path of purpose. And circumstances, we all have them. And we're not, some people have bigger ones than others, but they're all the same. So trying to focus on that purpose. The other thing is Proverbs 31:25. Proverbs 31 is my go-to book. It's just has everything about women and strength. And when I get on camera, I like to just look. I have this.
Okay, so please show us, please.
That I painted to remind myself.
Ooh, I love that. That's beautiful.
She's clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future.
Oh, I love that.
Laughs without fear of the future. So really know that you have the strength and you have the dignity and you have the power with him to move forward and not even worry about what the future is coming your way.
Wow. Well, we're going to end there. Beautiful, Pam. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being my first guest in this format and making me feel so comfortable and just cherished, because you have that presence about you. You have that gift that you bring to people. And we are here and we now know each other. Sisters in the faith, right? Sisters in Christ. Praise God for that. So listeners, thank you for lending us your ear. Please, again, reach out to Pam. She's wonderful, and she's serving God in a way that will empower you so that you can serve others in an impactful way. And so we're grateful for her. And give her a hand. God bless you, Pam. God bless you, listeners. Thank you for lending us your ear. Take care. Bye bye.